Ladies and gentlemen, it's Tuesday night. Time for your favorite show on YouTube for all Alabama content. This is the Bama Standard starring Steve Brown and them. Go ahead, hit that like and subscribe button if you're here with us. Get in the live chat. Let's get some controversy stirred up. If you're watching the replay, let us know how you feel in the comment section. And Steve Brown is now on multiple screens because he is that big of a star. As always, we're
two shots for that head.
As always, we are brought to you by Workspace Solutions and all my financial partners. I'm Justin Riley, and the loudmouth down below is an all-SEC linebacker who's having a good knee day, Mr. Marvin Constant. The real star of the show, comedy legend Steve Brown, and senior analyst of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, Stephen M. Smith. Fellas, it's that time again. What's up?
What's up?
Another great Tuesday, guys.
Hey, listen, before you get started, Justin, when you introduce me, can you get the applause button or something like that for me, if you don't mind?
I can do that.
People to hear from me.
Yeah, that's in the budget.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Folks, we got a great show. We're going to be diving into a lot of awesome content tonight. Before we do all that, we got a guest in the audience. Y'all need to get to know him. Stephen M. Smith, you are the greatest.
Time out.
I know the hell you were not interrupting me again.
Time out. Stephen M. Smith, I know you about to introduce him, but when you done introducing him, Steve, I need you to do me one favor. Ask him why I am on the Tuscaloosa County Wall of Fame, and I never set foot in their locker room. Never played it down for them in their crappy uniform, but yet I am on their Wall of Fame. And if you think I'm lying, go to my IG. I even put the picture on my gram.
I will be sure to mention that, Marvin. But what we got here on the show right now, man, I'm telling you, this is not a player. This is straight family right here. I had a whole bunch of fun covering this dude right here. Played from 2014 to 2017, a wide receiver, was burning them boys in practice, burning them. Two-time national champion, 2015 and 2017. Played a big role in helping guys like Mac Jones, helping guys like Jalen Hurts, helping cats like Tua Tagovailoa. That boy got the rings on his fingers. And then he hails right here from Tuscaloosa. He getting these kids right with NIL. He's getting these kids right in training. My brother got the Chicago White Sox hat on right now. Yeah, he went to Tuscaloosa County, and yes, Marvin is on the Wall of Fame in Tuscaloosa County. But forget all that, though. We got Donnie Lee Jr. in the building.
What's up, family? What's up?
Hey, man, I am so. Hey, listen. It's all those accolades. All those accolades are wonderful, but Stephen, you messed it up when you mentioned Marvin. You never should have did that. Just listen, Marvin. Listen, let's go and get the story straight before we. And the reason Justin didn't like it because Marvin is on the Tuscaloosa County High Wall of Fame getting ran over. Somebody's running him over in the hole. That's what it is. Let's get it out the way. Thank you. Somebody is literally stepping on his face. Yes. And as a matter of fact, when Marvin got up after that play, he looked like Stephen M. Smith wearing his glasses without the face mask. So that's what it is.
Steve, they wish they had ran me over. That's called wishful thinking.
Donnie, how you been, man?
Man, God's good, man. I've been well, but to Marvin's point, man, Coach Saban taught us something real important during my time there, and it's the 24-hour rule, man, and understanding you're only as good as your last game. So, as I'm sure Marvin knows what the score was last time, the Tuscaloosa County High School played Central High School, man.
Hey, hold on.
We'll see a lot more of that.
He graduated from Central, too.
Huh? Well, that's unfortunate, man. We got to beat both of y'all like a drum.
No. Wait a minute. Marvin. I went to Parkview Learning Center. That's the difference.
He said, I don't claim that.
I went to alternative school.
I
got kicked out of Central. So you know what? I got kicked out of Central. So bump Central. And guess what? The reason why County High did not want to play Parkview is because of our criminal record. They had to do a background check with our kids, and we didn't,
We ain't want no problems with that.
Yeah, I ain't no problem with that.
we ain't want no problems with that.
Yeah.
So what you were the inspiration to the movie Lean on Me. Is that right?
Exactly. Listen, we tackle you and steal your car keys. We did that.
It's gridiron gang
the whole time. Well, Justin, what you got for us, man? What you got for us? I'm excited.
I'm excited too. But before I get to unload my excitement, Stephen Smith, as always, man, we turn to you because you're the man who knows things. At least your glasses are a little fogged up, so that tells me you're somewhat excited. So you got something to unload. Talk to us about what's going on in spring practice. I want to hear some good things.
Well, today we got a chance to hear from Jaheim Otis, the man that made a tremendous transformation. He's down over 100 pounds, and hearing him speak today for the first time, this dude's driven. I mean, he talked about how Miss Amy, the head nutritionist, took away fried chicken, took away rice, took away bread. So he had a lot of baked things. He had a lot of vegetables in his diet.
Wait a minute. She racist, ain't she? She racist. What's going on?
Amy ain't gonna let you have no fun when it comes to that diet.
She took away the fried chicken. He said it.
It ain't no seasoning.
Now, and then when we asked Jaheim what was the hardest thing for him to give up, he said fried chicken. That was hard.
I would quit.
But
it ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody.
But see, here's the big thing. The big thing he said was, I'm faster now than what I was in high school. I'm faster now. I'm more aggressive now. I can explode better now. So him being that 100 pounds light is going to be good for him. It's going to be real good for him in the middle of that defense.
Okay.
He's bigger now. He's faster now, and he can explode better. Steve, didn't you tell that hooker at the Moon Wings the same thing the other night?
I did.
That's why they took the sign down. They said we gotta hide it.
No, it's not. As a matter of fact, I didn't want to say anything, but I have a new announcement. The Moon Wings' new name will be Steve Brown Inn. So listen,
the Steve Winks.
The Steve Wings. Hey, look, it's free to get in, but you got to pay your way out. That's it. Yeah.
Man.
And you leave with a parting gift.
Yeah, crabs. But look. It's okay. It's okay.
That's what's up. But yeah, Jaheim, man, he is a difference maker. And Chris Braswell spoke as well today. Talk about how comfortable Chris is now that Jaheim is doing his thing and what that means as far as his production next year.
Well, Justin and guys, it's just Chris's time. I mean, he came in the same class as Will Anderson. They both came in 2020. People don't realize that Chris Braswell actually played against Bryce Young in high school. St. Francis Academy faced off against Mater Dei a couple of times, and Chris Braswell in a few of those games got the better of Bryce Young. So when he and Will both came in, people thought Braswell was going to be the guy over Will. But unfortunately, Chris had to get more weight on his body. And that's why Will was able to kind of dominate early on. But Chris Braswell now is 255 pounds. He is the guy tapped to replace Will at that jack linebacker spot. So he has his own shoes to fill. But he's ready. He's ready for the challenge. He's ready to take it on.
So Marvin, you know what?
All of Jaheim's food is what you're saying.
Yeah, pretty much.
So Marvin, this defense may end up being the defense we've been crying about or crying to have for the last couple of years. What do you think, Marv?
Well, here's what I think when it comes to that. Two things have happened that I will say has definitely put us in a better position for us to return to the old. We had two departures, baby. Two departures, two big-time departures that are going to set the stage for other people to step up. One being Pete Golding, and Kevin Steele by far is a much better replacement than Pete. I mean, come on, Kevin Steele, Pete Golding, that's a no-brainer. The second being middle linebacker play. Now, with what Stephen Smith just spoke about with Jaheim Otis, he's going to be pivotal in improving that middle linebacker play. Because as a middle linebacker, if you can keep that guard, that center, or that tackle off you, depending upon what the front is, that's crucial for you to be successful. So with Jaheim being in better shape, it should be a situation where he enables those middle linebackers to be able to move freely. So whether it's Blackshire, whoever it ends up being, I think we're definitely in a much better position than we were last season.
So in other words, his play is going to enable the linebackers to make more plays, pretty much, because I guess he's soaking up more blocks.
Exactly. Yeah. And as a middle linebacker, that's what you want. You want to be able to move from tackle to tackle untouched, because if you can get over the top untouched, it just makes it so much easier for you to make a play. Yeah, sometimes you got to fight off a guard or tackle, hat in hands, and go make a play. But when you're untouched, man, there's no reason why you shouldn't be padding your stats.
So pretty much they're gonna be doing what you didn't do when County High played Central. But anyway, what were you saying, Steve?
And Steve, look at it like this too. Along with Marvin, not only will Jaheim be able to create for the linebackers, but Jaheim's smaller now. Jaheim can create for himself too.
Hey, this ain't me ball, man. Okay.
I understand.
In a 3-4 defense, you need that front to do their job. Their job is not to go out here and make plays. Their job is to set up plays for those linebackers.
I'm saying,
you know what, man? You know what? Hey,
they're going to do that.
Yeah.
I think Marvin wants the defense to be about the linebackers and line. He's so biased when it comes to linebackers.
No, you got to understand something. Football is a game of chess. It's a game of chess. You want your best players in the best possible position to make plays. I.e., when I played Kenny Smith out of position, I thought I seen something. You ain't seen nothing, man. But what you're doing is you're creating holes or gaps in that defense that a smart offensive coordinator will exploit. If he knows you like to gamble, he's going to put you in positions to make you think you've seen something, and he's going to exploit it.
Come on, well, Marvin, I got news for you. I don't know how to play chess, but I beat your ass in Uno.
Damn right. Hey, but Marvin, for some reason, we can't see a live chat on here. I'm watching on my phone. Lucian's got a question for you. Could we possibly see a rotation at inside linebacker, say 3 to 4 deep?
I would not. Listen, if you're going to have a rotation, there's 2 positions I always say stay away from rotations at. Quarterback and middle linebacker, because those 2 positions, you have to be in tune with the game. You have to know exactly what your opponent is doing, make the correct checks and audibles. You put somebody out there who's not in tune with the game, he might not be seeing things that somebody else is seeing that's going to put you in a bad position. And a great middle linebacker, he's going to pick up on most of the keys that he needs to pick up on in the first 2 or 3 series. He's going to refine his game by the second quarter. If you're taking him out, you're going to take that away from him.
Yeah. Okay, so Justin, let me start right here. I have a complaint, and I got to say it. I'm sick of this. Every time we get into a show, and the show is going well, Stephen M. White makes him stop and go wash dishes. I don't think that's right.
See, he over there making oodles and noodles.
I don't think that's right. Every time, Stephen, you got to be the man of your house. Every time we do this, your wife makes you stop and wash dishes. Wash the dishes.
I wouldn't wash the dishes. I had 2 steaks in the oven, like Marvin did yesterday.
Hold on,
she's beating on that man.
Exactly. It's like it's Steve. It's an Ike Tina situation in reverse.
What the hell you doing with steak in the oven, man?
The steak don't go in the oven, Steve.
I seasoned that junk right there. It tastes good.
No, you don't put steak in the oven, man.
Hey, man, let me tell you something, Marvin. You don't tell that man what his wife told him not to do. She told him to do that.
So she made him put on that.
You trying to get this man jumped on?
Steaks in the oven.
You trying to get this man beat up again?
He gonna be in the doghouse with TB, Tony Brown, and them.
She didn't have to make him put the pink shirt and the apron on, no, Steve. He could have just put the steaks in the oven without.
It's okay. It's okay.
Pretty soon you're gonna hear eat the cake out of me.
Come on. Come on.
You ain't finna pull those Jay-Z's out here, Justin. You ain't finna do that.
Hey, but listen, we got a pretty awesome guest here. You know, he's been waiting his turn to get on this show, and we're excited to have him. Folks, if you hadn't heard his story, it's time to hear it. Donnie, you got quite an amazing story. We're going to get to what you're doing now a little bit later, but we need to give them a little bit of preview of how you got to where you're at. You know,
and start with when you were like 5 watching us dog walk Tuscaloosa County the whole time you were in elementary school, middle school, and high school. All right, go.
But yes.
Well, the crazy thing is I'm a military brat, so I didn't move to Tuscaloosa until around the time Dion had about 18 touchdowns in one game against Hoover High School on 2 days. So I've never really seen that one, Mr. Constant. But I had to do my due diligence so I could find out about it.
Yeah,
but,
you do that. It's easy to do.
So you a military baby?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Born in
Oh,
Fort
yeah,
Benning. Yes, sir.
I was in the military. I was in the Army. I started as an E4 and left with an E. But look, that's
Come
besides the
on.
point.
Come
Go
on.
ahead, man.
That's just me and you smart. You need to get up out of there. Come on.
Right,
Come on.
They were gonna
But
make him frontline infantry, but they ain't had no helmets to fit him, so they just put him
big
in the
enough
back,
for
let him change oil in the tanks.
they should have let him use your helmet from college. I know that was
right.
Or the helmet
Donnie?
from Parkview.
Donnie?
come on.
No, but Donnie, if I
no,
remember
man.
right, you started out on the track path and went to Florida, right? Before
Yes,
you
sir.
came to
Yes, sir.
Tuscaloosa, before God led you back home.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I, ran track in high school. I actually stopped playing football after my freshman year. I just decided to focus on basketball and focus on track and field. I went to a couple camps. I was on the same summer track team as Marlon Humphrey. So whenever he'd go to different summer camps, I just kind of track along with him. And, I always had love for the game of football. But in my mind, I was like, man, track's my thing. Basketball's my thing. I thought I was going to be about 6'5", 6'6", like my older brothers. That didn't happen. I'm the midget in the family. So I was like, man, I need to lock in. And so, I was blessed to receive just several offers out of high school for track and field. When I went to the University of Florida, I very quickly realized that track and field runners don't get paid much, and I probably can't take care of my mama with a track and field salary. And around that same time, my mom got sick. So I was like, it's time to get back to Tuscaloosa. Marlon had committed, and he was like, man, let's go do this thing together. We could run track and play football together at Bama. And so I was just really, really locked in on that. And so moved back home, walked onto the team, just really worked, put my head down, finally got an opportunity. My last spring ball in 2017 where I was working with the twos behind Calvin. I was in rotation. Just like Coach Constant said, man, there's certain positions like that quarterback and that linebacker that you just absolutely can't replace them. I think them playing Dylan Moses, even after his injury, speaks volumes to that because even though he wasn't physically what he was in middle school or through high school, cerebrally and mentally, he understood the game better than anybody else that we could put out there. And so that speaks volumes to just the importance of that position. That's really the quarterback of the defense. But, just put my head down, worked, as you guys just said, with Jaheim, man, and Chris Braswell. The unique thing about Bama and what I hate about the transfer portal is that you got to pay your dues. You know what I'm saying? It's not instant gratification. And I think it's very subjective. You've got certain guys where the transfer portal is appropriate, where they need to make moves to have better family situations. But I'm not a huge supporter of, let me hit the portal because I'm not starting as a true freshman.
Exactly.
Bro, you got to pay your dues. The same way Quentin Williams did. I remember he sat in the hot tub with me and told me he wanted to quit and transfer. That next year, he was first round draft pick, right? And so
there it is.
Just paying those dues. And so I still like to say, really locked in. Just trained, learned from a lot of great receivers like Calvin, like our Darius Stewart. Amari Cooper was there when I first got there. Got to see some looks from the best DBs to ever play college football. Finally got myself into a position, like I said, where I was running the second team. Went through A-Day, had a really good A-Day. Was second in the team in receptions all through spring camp. Played a little bit in A-Day. Was starting on special teams in fall camp about a week before we played Florida State. Ended up tearing my ACL, my MCL, and my PCL. Running the corner out, right? But, God doesn't make mistakes, even though I make a lot of them. And so about 2 months after that, man, I made probably the worst mistake of my life. I was arrested, kicked off the football team. I was probably it was the most terrible situation I've ever been through. I thought I'd hit rock bottom when I tore my ACL, and then, it got even worse shortly after that. Just kind of put my head down and determined, everything that I'd learned from Coach Saban, and that transcended football. I recognized that here's an opportunity where I feel like I'm down by about 60 points in the first quarter. I've still got a daughter that's looking for me to win this ball game no matter what takes place, and so I've got to step up and, like Saban tells all the time, control what you can control and leave the rest to God. So, after that, just kind of bootstrapped myself, just started working. I ended up transferring to the University of West Georgia, played a year there. I tore my meniscus a year to the day to tearing my ACL at West Georgia, but very thankful for those experiences nonetheless. I moved back to Tuscaloosa shortly after that, to one of the greatest cities in the world, Northport, Alabama, not Tuscaloosa, but Napote. Napote, Napote, Alabama. Moved back to Napote, man. Come on. Went and chopped it up with the current head football coach there and told him, look, man, I've had a lot of knowledge and wisdom shared with me by some great coaches like Coach Saban, Coach Higg. When he was at County High, I didn't play under Coach Higg, but just learning from him, Coach Weeks, the County High basketball coach. I'm going to give a lot of County High shout-outs since we got these Central boys on here, man. Coach Holloway, you know, my track coach at the University of Florida, the Olympic team head coach as well. And so, man, I just felt that it was very important for me to go back and just share that with the next generation. It's something that I think Coach DeMario Pippen is doing a great job with Central High School right now, man, in terms of everything that he's doing to plant seeds into this next generation. But to bring things full circle, you know, I started training from there, started off free of charge. I had a kid, ironically, his dad came up to me after the first session and said, "How much do you charge?" I told him, "Well, I don't." I said, "I'm doing it free of charge while I'm studying for law school." And excuse the background, my bad. But I'm studying for law school, so I'm going to train him free of charge. He said, "No, I'm not doing that." He said, "I'm going to pay you $250 a month." And that's how I came up with my business model. That kind of cookie cutter, kind of domino affected from there. That kid is ironically Sawyer Dearman. His dad was Terry Dearman, the guy that Sawyer's got a PWO offer to play at Bama now, selected the walk-on offer over several scholarship offers just because of his love for Alabama. Really just domino affected from there. One guy turned into 10 into 20. The pandemic hit, so we had a virtual monopoly over the city of Tuscaloosa from a training perspective. Had Mac Jones come out and work with all of our quarterbacks before the NIL stuff started. Really took it off from there, man, just applying all the principles that I learned from Coach Saban and his process and taking that to the next generation. And so now we're able to use that exact same process for kids in the criminal justice reform side of things. So when kids are released from the juvenile detention center, we take them through a methodical process, just like we go through at the University of Alabama. They've got mandatory tutoring and study hall, just like all our athletes have. They have access to therapists. They have access to nutritionists like Amy Braggs when we have those guys that need to lose 100 pounds. And so that's where we're at right now, is just trying to duplicate that process that Coach Saban has showed works year after year, and seeing if we can get that to work outside of football, just in saving lives.
Wow. Hey, man, that's great, man.
That's yeah, crazy.
That's great. Oh, by the way, you mentioned DeMario Pippen. I just want you to understand that DeMario Pippen did play under me when I coached at Central when we won the state championship, which County High never did. So I just want you to I do want you to know that.
1985.
Yeah, of course.
And they told me that Pitt was your backup. I didn't know he played for you. Look, I thought he was your backup running back. My bad.
Oh, no, Pitt was a starter.
But Steve, you know, he called me yesterday, asked me to actually speak to the team. Did he call you? Oh, no.
Oh, damn.
Come on.
Hey, I guess what? I got a camera effect on how I fade away.
Steve, wow. I got an idea for the next stand-up, man. I want you to walk up, and all you need to do is show the scoreboard from County High versus Central and watch how they start laughing.
Why does Steve have them old golf pants on, though?
That's part of his AARP NIL deal.
Look at, watch him walk over the old golf pants on. Look at it. Yeah.
Look at the threat.
All right, so listen. Right. Let's go. Let's get to the meat and potatoes of this thing. Now, Justin, you said that he knew something about the NILs, right?
Yes,
NIL deals,
absolutely.
Right? And I was just wondering. So listen, since you are a part of NIL, I was just wondering. See, I got these Stacey Adams, and I was just wondering if, like, I can, get a deal.
I mean, I think we can make that happen, man. Do your walk one more time for me with the shoe in hand. Let me see how. There you go. Yep, that's perfect. We can get you about 10 bands for your IG post for that, right there, just like that.
Absolutely. But yeah, let's talk about NIL. We've often talked about that on the show, and we talked about the bad side of NIL. Donnie, you're part of NIL now. You are part of the good side. And matter of fact, it's awarded you an opportunity to work with Jermaine Burton and now Tony Mitchell. If you would kind of tell people what is all involved there, and also too, what have you seen in Jermaine that's going to maybe guide him to emerge this year?
100%. Man, I think you hit it dead on the nail that name, image, and likeness exists in a binary. So there's positives to it, and then there's obviously a myriad of negative factors to it. I do appreciate the fact, and this is probably the one thing ever that I've appreciated the NCAA for, but that they are trying to find ways to kind of close Pandora's box. I think that it was overdue in terms of compensating college athletes. I think it might have been done slightly prematurely in terms of not having enough guardrails and things of that nature. I had the opportunity to chop it up with Kyle South, the state rep for the state of Alabama that wrote HB 404. And in complete transparency, he just copy and pasted the legislation from Texas, right? Governor Ivey's perspective is we don't want to be at a competitive disadvantage in any regard. So I do think that in the next year or so that we'll see high school NIL enacted as well as other states are doing it. And we're seeing guys moving out of the state of Alabama to your Mississippis or your Louisianas or your Californias so they can monetize their NIL while still in high school. But apropos to Jermaine and Tony, like we talked about earlier, my experience at Bama was tough. I didn't accomplish the things that I wanted to accomplish on the track or on the field. Ended up getting arrested, kicked off the football team, and so I had my struggles, I had my obstacles that I had to overcome. And man, I think that God doesn't make mistakes, right? So whenever we go through something, it's not solely for us to go through that. And so I'm at a point in my life now where I spent a lot of time learning from my mistakes, and now I want to teach from those mistakes. And so, even before the NIL, just organically, I felt myself doing that. Vandarius Cowan is a great friend of mine, my little brother. He got into some trouble at University of Alabama, transferred to Maryland. Him and I created a relationship immediately after that about just, man, what are you going to do now? Like, who is your identity? What's your identity? Who are you now that the ball's going flat? You've got a lot of people that are leaving your life now, right? I tell all the guys at signing day, and ironically told T. Mitch this at his signing day a year ago, man, the amount of people that are in this room right now, if anything happens, look around and you won't see 90% of them. I'm sure Coach Constant, you can vouch for that, man. You know that the people that were in that room at signing day versus the people that they ended up leaving, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? When I walked out of the jail cell, it wasn't nobody but my mama, my brother, and God. So it's tough, man. And just getting guys to understand that this is an opportunity for you to control the narrative and take the pen. NIL to me is important because it positions guys for after ball. Yeah, there's opportunities for elect guys while they're still in college, to monetize those brands, but they've got to focus more on brand development. A lot of guys, especially that have the script A on their shoulders, think that because I play for Bama, then I'm entitled to $1 million NIL deal. And I think the first year or so of NIL showed them that that's not the case. Just like a TikToker or someone on Instagram, you've got to develop a brand that these businesses respect and that there's going to be an ROI for those businesses. So just as well as we consult for the athletes, we also do consultations for local businesses as well, so they know how to implement those athletes for their NIL operations so that there is a return on that investment.
That's what's up.
That is big, because I'll be honest with you, man, from talking to athletes over the years, I can honestly say 90 to 95% are not prepared for when those lights go out. And when those lights go out, that is a lonely, lonely feeling that most are not prepared to deal with, because when you've been in the spotlight your entire life, everybody's screaming your name, cheering, you're on TV, you're this, you're that, and then all of a sudden it's over.
Hey man, you're right. You're right, because you damn sure right, because I gave my roommate the light bill money, he didn't pay it, and next thing I know, everything was black, and I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Well, the fact that you're 59 and a half and you have a roommate, that's a whole different set of problems.
Hey Marvin, stay out of my business.
Why are you judging?
Yeah.
Donnie,
he called his wife his roommate. We don't want to get caught up.
Is it? Steve got a question.
Thank you.
Donnie, speaking of Tony, man, have you gotten a chance to speak with him, talk to him since? What's transpired with him?
Yeah, I ran his ass like a dog yesterday at our training session.
There you go. Not gonna get away from Coach, is he?
No, man. Tony's gonna be good, man. With or without football. That's not to say that his football career is done, but every kid that I've been honored to mentor or to work with, I let them know that out the gate, man, that this ball will go flat for you at a certain point in time, and so who you are as a man is going to define you way more than any route you run, any coverage that you have, any tackle that you make. So Tony is in good spirits. His dad is in his life, and his dad is tutoring him through this process. His dad has had his share of obstacles in the past as well. And so again, we learn from our mistakes, and then we teach from those mistakes. This is bigger than ball, man. This is about fatherhood. This is about developing young men. As we always say, I think some of our best leaders end up falling in love with sports, and we all know what that can do to your mental psyche. And so T. Mitch is going to be good, man. I've chopped it up with some guys on the coaching staff at Bama. They've got high hopes for him. They think that things are going to work in his favor. We think that things are going to work out in his favor. And so the main thing right now is making sure that T. Mitch don't get fat, making sure that he stays in shape, making sure he's still able to run. So we're doing a lot of speed development stuff. just naturally, man, we were at the lab yesterday training, and there's about 5, 10, or 11-year-old kids around that have no idea who T. Mitch is, bro.
You know what?
Yes, sir.
Donnie, I want to challenge you with something, man. Myself and Tony Dixon, we often have this conversation. You know, we talk to some of the younger guys, and a lot of them still lack direction, or they're just doing menial jobs that serve no purpose. The one thing that I can say about the guys that I played with, out of our group, so many executives, senior leadership in major corporations came out of that. And myself and Tony, we were talking about how do we take all of these important jobs that we have and give back to the younger generation, because there's a disconnect there. And the fact that so many of us have these jobs, it's like, how do we hand it back somehow?
Amen. No, I think that's an amazing question. Ironically, so last Wednesday, I'm a member of the First and 10 Club with Bama football, and so Patrick Morgan is over that, and then Van Nordstrom.
I know Patrick. I played with him.
Come on. So you know Pat. I told Pat last week. I said I got a bone to pick with you, man. We're sitting in the room with all of these guys, all of these professionals. I said the room is too homogenous, bro. I said for one, appreciate you, bro. I said for one, man. Oh, can y'all still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. I said for one, man, everybody. I'm the youngest guy in here, and I'm 27 years old. I said, bro, the age gap from me until the person that's close in age to me was probably about 10 years. I was like, bro, like we talked about this all the time when I was playing at Bama. Where are the alumni at, right? I went to LSU this past weekend. You got guys that played at LSU just walking around, working out at the facility, right? Having those guys there. And so I think that's the big thing, man, is getting more people involved in that First and 10 Club. Patrick and I chopped it up. Marvin, I'll make sure I set up a group chat with us as well. Their whole thing right now is getting younger B-Side 5 members involved in that. And then as well as guys that aren't necessarily B-Side 5, but that want to give that information to the next generation. We just recognize that players are typically more receptive to former players when they're teaching those things about making that transition. But the First and 10 Club is to answer your question, the First and 10 Club is where that's at for sure.
Well, we've had some discussions about that, but nothing has ever materialized. But, it's something we definitely would love to have happen, because with the companies that some of us work for, I mean, it's a no-brainer, man. It should be a direct pipeline, but that's not the case. And like you said, the diversity in that room tells the entire story.
But you know what, man, y'all mentioning the balls will go flat. I get that, man. And this is why I take testosterone boosters, because the thing is, if ever you feel, the nerve, the urge to where you want to do something and your balls go flat, is always good. I'd pop in like 2 a day, and
What's the name of that brand? We can't be doing free promo. We need that NIL.
Yeah. Deal. Okay. Right. Yeah. I just wanted to let you guys know.
Steve,
right. I can't do nothing for you, but yeah, just know that these are ball blasters. My balls never go flat.
Come on.
Donnie, we got a question from the audience from Efren Davis, and guys, feel free to weigh in as well. Do you feel the rules are working for the NIL?
What rules? That's the problem.
That's excellent point.
Come on, not at all, man. I think that again they've opened Pandora's box because they recognized that they had to, and now they're just trying to figure it out. Like, okay, we knew we had to pay these guys, but how do we pay these guys? I think that the Bama method works very efficiently, right? So Coach Saban, as he's spoken about publicly, he wants guys to be essentially on a salary, right? Like, this guy is netted this much, right? He's going to get us this much. This guy's going to get us this much. Obviously, in terms of logistics of that, that can be kind of complex, but I think that's the best bet. I think the Supreme Court case is going to play a huge role in terms of that compensation. And I also think that it's important for us to have more tax consultants and tax accountants available for the guys. The amount of guys that I've had text me in the last week, Bama just had a pop-up tax meeting Saturday morning. The amount of guys that have texted me in the last week saying, bro, I didn't know I had to pay taxes on this. Dog, we've been telling you this for years, bro.
That's a big point.
Come on.
That's a great point, man.
Hey,
great point.
Not only do you have to pay taxes, but once you hit that $206,000 a year mark,
it's over.
6% bracket. It only gets worse every year.
Come on.
Yeah.
Move to Delaware.
Speak on that gift tax that when they get that Tesla that they're going to end up having to pay for.
And then they're having to pay some type of capital gain taxes too, depending upon hey.
Come on. But that's why it's so important. I know during my playing time, Javier Arenas came and he told us some horror stories that he experienced in the investment space, just in terms of being financially literate. Financial advisors. I remember when I was practicing, I got an email from an accountant on a Sunday morning telling me how great I did the Saturday night before. Well, I didn't play a single snap. So I'm like, bro, why are you emailing me this, right? But they recognize that there's not a demographic of people that will become millionaires essentially overnight as quickly as athletes will. And so they see that as a demographic where, hey, if we can lock in with these guys at a certain time period, it makes it a lot more efficient. I'm blessed that we've had some individuals that I've created relationships with on the accounting side that teach all of our athletes, like, hey, bro, this is how we do this, how we do that. Just taking that from there, making sure they don't have those issues, making sure that everything's filed through an LLC and not directly through them. Yes, sir.
Wow. I have a question for you.
Yes,
so,
sir.
Are these NIL deals, are they considered independent contractors?
Yes, sir. 1099s. Yes, sir.
Okay, so if they're 1099, oh man, well, I'm writing off everything. Man, I'm keeping every receipt. Man, please.
Come on.
You know, man, I want to say this too, man. I am so, dude, you don't understand. The people who are watching this show are really learning a lot, man. I am so glad, and we are so blessed that I found you and I called you to be on this show, and you begged me so many times to be on this show, and I finally said yes. It is ridiculous. So thank you for coming on, man. I'm glad I answered your 7 phone calls, man. I'm so glad.
And I'm gonna send you that check. I'm gonna send you that check for getting me on the show as soon as we get off. I promise you. Don't hold off on me. It's in the mail.
But Donnie, I always want to ask you this, because knowing that you played under Coach Saban, and so many other coaches handle the discipline things differently than Coach Saban. There's so many guys that say this player messed up, he's a cancer cell, he's bad for the team, get rid of him. And Saban always finds a way to do, let's not get rid of the guy, but let's get the guy to kind of learn from this is what you did, but this is how we can help you be better. Take us through that process. Like, how does Saban go through that whole process of, yes, you may have slipped up, but we're not going to throw you away?
For sure. So I know when you speak about that, you're mentioning, you're referring to that interview he did about the receiver from Michigan State who went on to go went to Harvard. His kids are now at Ivy League schools, and Coach Saban kind of went on one of his Saban rants about how if I did what everybody else told me to do and I just threw the guy to the wolves, what happens to him now?
I saw that.
If I throw him away, what do I do to him now, right? That conversation is a little sensitive for me because he did throw me to the wolves. I just came back leading the pack, but I love him nonetheless.
I like that. Say that again. Say that again.
He threw me to the wolves, but I just came back leading the pack, so it's a little different. And I appreciate Coach Saban. He came up to me after practice Wednesday. We chopped it up, man. And for the first time, man, he told me he was proud of me. And that meant a lot to me. I've heard him say that twice. The first time before this was when we lost to Clemson, and the second time was at practice. And man, Coach Constant, you know how that is, dog. Like you don't get flowers from guys like that. Your Brady's, your Belichick's, your Sabans of the world, and so
you just do your job.
Just do your job. You never applaud a fish for swimming. You know exactly what it is, man. So I still have to say, man, I love what Coach Saban does. I think that he goes to bat for his guys, especially when he can go to bat for them. If there's a situation where there's nothing he can do, like my situation, he moves accordingly. He still made sure that I had the appropriate just therapy and things of that nature to make sure I got through that process. And so I think that no matter who the kid is, it's important to recognize that these are 18 to, you got these COVID year guys, 18 to like 30-year-old men if you play quarterback at Tennessee, but I digress.
Or Georgia.
Or come on. But,
or Parkview.
Come on. But no, I think Coach Saban does an amazing job of that. Just in terms of saying, hey, I'm not gonna cut a kid off just because of this one mistake. Obviously, if it's a mistake that's been made more than once, like Saban says all the time, that's no longer a mistake; it's a decision. And so, man, I think that what Coach Saban does for his boys, he can't have an intimate relationship with every single individual on the team, but I don't think there's a single person that's ever played for Coach Saban that he wouldn't do absolutely as much as he humanly possibly could do for it.
That's what's up. Real quick, everybody watching this channel, make sure you go and subscribe to the Bama Standard YouTube channel. Hit that link as soon as you come off of this show. Go and tell a friend that know a friend that has the internet that this is the hottest show on the internet when we're talking about Bama, because we are the standard. We have some people on here. This young man right now that's giving us the game. And if you're missing this show, you can also watch it again. So make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel right away. It's very important. And when you watch it again, Marvin won't be on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, and I was about to give you credit for doing something decent for once. See,
before I get to our next topic,
before the horse. Come on, man.
Before I get to the next topic, I want to take this opportunity while we got everybody in the audience to remind them April 25th and April 26th, the Bama Standard is going to be live. Yes, that's right. Live at the Paul Bryant Museum doing our show. Come out, get there early. There's only a limited amount of room. So please come out and support us. We're going to have a lot of guests: Antonio Langham, Bobby Humphrey, Christian Miller. Donnie, if you like to stop by, come on through. We're going to have Bumhauer there with some wings in hand.
Steve Brown wearing his old West Side Raiders jersey. He pointed himself. He wanted some attention.
Justin, excuse me, Marvin. Excuse me, you out of line. Justin, can you tell him I'm going to be there?
Yes.
I just told him you're going to be there with your old West Side Raiders Little League jersey on.
Shut up, Marvin. Go ahead.
What's up, baby girl? How you doing?
What's going on?
Well, Donnie, my daughter's made it on scene now.
I like that. Donnie, I know that you provided some great information regarding NIL. Thank you for that. I want to turn the page to you as an evaluator, as a trainer. And I want to also use this to kind of lead into spring ball. We talked a little bit about it earlier on the phone. Jermaine Burton's your guy. Talk to us about his development. Late last season, he emerged. His passion just really showed in the field, and he just seemingly took over. What do you see about Jermaine Burton in his final season wearing a Crimson Tide jersey that tells you this guy's about to go off?
Man, I think it's just the mentality that Jermaine's taken into the season, and that's last one, best one, right? This is my last go around. This is my last opportunity, and so this is what's going to define me. Jermaine's put in a lot of work. He's just really been locked in. So I'm excited for him. I think the mentality is what's changed. When he first came here, he kind of had this. He felt like he was going to be an outsider initially, and then as the team continued to bring him in, man, I think it takes time to get to know people, and so definitely has that demon energy in him for 100%. And I think that's what our receivers are going to need, man. Like we need that BOB feel back that Coach Napier had with us, right? Band of brothers. Hey, bro, we're going to die for each other, bro, whether it's blocking on the backside, bro, or whether it's running a route when I know I'm not getting the ball, but it's going to get my brother open. Like that's what's needed. So I'm excited for Jermaine to step up. Had an amazing practice last week. Obviously, he's running with the ones. He's a vocal leader out there. He's talking to the young guys. I noticed him coaching up some guys, tell them, hey, bro, you got this route on this. You got this route on that. You can always tell when a guy's become a leader on the offensive side because they're no longer spending the 3 to 4 seconds in between plays trying to figure out what they've got next. They're helping some of those younger guys in terms of, hey, this is what you've got on this route. This is what's on the back end of that, right? Jermaine's been spending time with some of the younger guys, watching film with them, right? Teaching them, helping them understand the game so that, we can't let what happened last year happen again, man. That's not the Bama Standard, and he completely understands that.
That's not the what?
It's not the Bama Standard. Come on, man. Come on, man. We need to go teach them. All of us need to go to practice so we can teach them the Bama Standard again, man.
They don't want me to come to practice.
Come on. We got a helmet for you. I just need you to hit something. That's it. Just go hit something. Show them what it is.
Hey, Donnie, touch on this statement right here. There's a lot of people who have been saying that he is too slow with no twitch. Some people have placed that on him. You work with him. You see the physical side. You're a trainer. Please go ahead and explain why this isn't true of Jermaine.
For sure. So Jermaine is not your 4.2 Henry Ruggs type guy. He ran a 4.4 low at the junior pro day. Jermaine, his separation is what makes him different, right? I think it's important to acknowledge that Jerry Rice ran a 4.7. So no, he's not the fastest guy on the field, but his ability to get open is different. I think that around 2007, 16, 17, you started seeing the receiving core getting a lot shorter and a lot quicker, right? Football, just like Coach Constant said earlier, it's chess, right? So if you see everybody's going in one direction, then you've got to go in the opposite direction. And so I think that Jermaine's going to really be able to separate himself as a receiver because he is a bigger body receiver, right? At practice, I've seen him putting hands on guys, right? Him and Kool-Aid, they were being physical with each other, right? Fighting pressure with pressure. You don't see that a lot in today's college football game. It's all 4-3 guys that can just blaze past you but don't want to touch you. I think that Jermaine's going to really separate himself for one with his ability to block on the perimeter, which is almost a lost art in today's game. And again, he's getting quicker every single day. The strength and conditioning program is prefaced just off of that, right? Jermaine would get on here and say, just like anybody else, I'm not fast enough. I'm not fast enough. I'm not twitchy enough, right? And so I agree with exactly what the fans are saying. We've got to improve, but he did run a 4.4 low at Junior Pro Day. The scouts like that a lot. We want to get it to that 4.3 high range if we can by the combine next year, but I think he'll be good to go.
So
I didn't know he was as big as he was. He's a pretty big dude.
About 6'2", 200 solid.
Now, Donnie, at one point last year, did you see it kind of click for him? Because I remember, I know at first he and Bryce were having a hard time getting set on that deep ball, but then as the season went on, those two really started connecting, especially in that Sugar Bowl against Kansas State. That's where Burton mossed the guy, was standing over him like, you can't stop me right now. But at what point last year did you say, okay, now it's clicked for him, now he has it?
100%. To say when it immediately clicked, I don't think it was an instant thing, but I do think that the Tennessee situation was a catalyst for him in terms of him understanding that, man, like this is big. This is bigger than me, man. Like I've got to lock in. I've got to do my 1 of 11. This could all be over for me tomorrow, and would I be satisfied with what I've done thus far? And the answer was an astounding hell no. And so I think that that's really when the flip switched for him. And then progressively, each game that passed from there, he just kind of recognized it year and year. And then just being completely transparent, every receiver there recognized that was the last year of Bryce Young. And so they're like, I need to start getting some numbers put together this year because I might not have the same production next year with a first-year starting quarterback. Not taking shots at Milroe or Ty Simpson, but it's going to be difficult for them to duplicate what Bryce did after having a year under his belt, right? And so all the receiving corps recognized that, and the offensive line as well. That's why I think we had a couple guys hit the transfer portal.
Well, I'll tell you what. Tell Jermaine I said thank you because for the Sugar Bowl, I took the first half over and the second half over, I took the over for the game.
You do so.
It was a good day, baby.
It always comes back to this.
Now, Donnie, you brought up not trying to take shots at Milroe or Simpson, but you being out there checking out some of these practices. Just starting off with Milroe, I mean, how has he been looking just to you so far in terms of his mechanics, his footwork, his throwing? Like, how has he been looking so far?
Man, him and Ty both looked amazing at practice. The Dillon kid looked amazing at practice. Every single quarterback looks amazing at practice because they got the black jerseys on. They know ain't nobody finna hit them. It's very vanilla. I'm very biased when it comes to picking quarterbacks because I like pocket passes because I'm a route runner. So I like Ty Simpson, but I think Jalen Milroe is an amazing person. He's an amazing athlete. If you ask anybody on the team, they'll tell you he's top 3 fastest guys on the team. For me personally, I think that can be an issue at times because when you know that you're that fast, you can go through your first progression, and then if it's not there, I'm just going to take off running, right? I'm sure Marvin's seen Dion do that against Central 1,000 times, right? And so if the first read's not there, he's just taking off running. But again, man, Coach Saban, you've seen the development that he had for Jalen Hurts, right? When Jalen first got there, that he was the exact same way. He's seen his first read. If it wasn't there, he's going to take off running. And a lot of the receivers like, hey, we want Tua so we can get our production up so we can go to the NFL. I'm excited to see how he progresses cerebrally. Athletically, there's not a better athlete in the country than Jalen Milroe, right? But from a cerebral perspective, getting him to be patient enough to go through those progressions and, hey, don't depend on your run until that last read. I personally don't want to see what I've seen against Texas A&M again from my quarterback.
Man, listen, you keep taking shots at Central. Just know, I've already booked the hotel room. I will be there for the Central Tuscaloosa County High game this year. I've already booked the room.
I wouldn't. Marvin, don't do it. It's no. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
In the words of Joe off Medea, don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Hey, now, you don't know what might happen. Nobody thought we'd lose to Tennessee this year either, huh?
Well, anyway, We're not going to
I
talk
gotta
about
give you
that.
that.
Still bitter. Still bitter. Now, Donnie, I wanted to turn the attention to spring practice itself as a whole. We talked a little bit about it earlier. And one of the things that has really stuck out in our minds here recently was JC Latham's comments, wanting our opponents to fear playing us again. Tell me what you've seen in spring practice thus far that makes you believe that dog is back. And if you could sprinkle in a little bit of what Ha said to the team.
Come on, man. To put the dog into a microcosm, I seen fights at practice. And I know that publicly, you know, Coach Saban is always like, we don't do that. No, we fight. And that's how we know we love each other, because we throw hands. I've seen the offense versus defense brawl. And every single year that we went to bat with each other, the first home game we had, why do you think we did to USC what we did to USC? Because we was tired of doing it to each other. So you're seeing, again, that competitive integrity. Guys aren't happy with how last year finished up. I personally love being around the locker room after a loss. Whenever the season ends and I know we beat Kansas State, but we lost. So, like, whenever the season ends after not winning the national championship, the culture in that room is so unique, man. I remember Reuben Foster, after we lost to Clemson, him coming into the locker room and him saying, bro, that shit ain't happening again. He said, and if you got a problem with it, let's fight. Like Coach Constant said, bro, that linebacker, he set some mentality, bro. I don't want candy stripers, in the words of Coach Saban, bro. I need real deal killers with me, bro. Like Coach TJ used to say, bro, if you can't be in my foxhole if you're not ready to die for this, bro. And again, I think NIL has negatively impacted that. The transfer portal has negatively impacted that.
Yep.
You got kids that their socioeconomic status is already skyrocketed. Come on.
Did you say toe?
Oh.
Did you say toe?
Oh, they cut him off. Marvin, they cut him out.
They found him. Toe.
They found him. They got my boy. They got my boy.
Oh, man. Cancel culture got him.
Hey, man, hold on. But while we're waiting on him to come back, man, listen, man.
No, he ain't coming back. He ran out of minutes.
No, I seen on one of these pre-draft boards where they were predicting Toa to be an early third-round draft pick.
Shit. I mean, sure, man. What?
I just don't see that. I'm sorry. I'm not knocking the guy as a person, but what I'm saying is the skills that are needed to play this position in the NFL, he doesn't have them. So,
hey man, listen, they might try to switch him to strong safety. You never know.
Now that'd be crazy, Steve. That'd be crazy though.
Because you gotta understand something. You gotta understand something. Do you remember what's his name? Mark Barron. He was a DB.
But
they moved him to linebacker.
Mark Barron, he came from safety to linebacker.
Yep.
That's different. But Mark also was very physical. He had that mentality. Mark wasn't scared to play the wood. To play linebacker at this level and higher, man, you have to really be not wrapped too tight when it comes to your thoughts on your own body, because
we know
having to take on those guards, those tackles.
We know.
And those guys are 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", 330 pounds strong as all outdoors, man.
And Marvin, can you say the first part again? To be linebacker, you got to be wet, not wrap wet.
Justin,
say it slow.
Justin, let's go, man. I ain't
say it slow.
I'm not doing this with you tonight, man.
Say it.
Man, bring Donnie back in here, man.
No, Marvin, say it. Marvin, give the fans what they want. Say it real slow and just look in the camera.
I've had 7 knee surgeries. I've had arm surgery.
That ain't got nothing to do with nothing.
To my point. To my point,
man,
your body has to be put back together on a regular basis to play middle linebacker, because you're gonna beat your body to hell. So I'm sorry.
Hey man, hey Donnie. Marvin, now when you left, Marvin said that your Boost Mobile ran out of minutes. I ain't had nothing to do with it. Marvin said that.
Nah, he's frozen.
Donnie, you know better than that.
It disconnected. I can hear you now.
Marvin said of you, he said the reason you got cut off because your Boost Mobile prepaid phone ran out of minutes. I don't think that's right.
We ain't got no service.
Now, Donnie, who do you think said that, Donnie?
We ain't got no
phone service. It sounds like it's something
man. Like we in the country. We in the boondocks.
But Donnie, before you left, man, I think you got cut off before you kind of had an opportunity to talk about what Ha has added to this team, what kind of dynamic he's brought, and how he's really challenging everybody.
Man, he's just bringing the culture back, man. You know, I had an opportunity to chop it up with HaHa at the practice as well, man, and just seeing just the importance of doing the little things right. That's what he's bringing back to the organization. I'm sure you guys have heard the proverbial saying where the guy says, "Hey, I came here on a camel. My son will drive a Lamborghini. His son will drive a Rolls Royce, and then his son will also be on a camel," right? I think we've seen that happen with Alabama, right? Where that class that came in 2008, man, it's dang, Steve, you did me like that. I appreciate you, Squealer. You're a real one, bro. You're a real one, bro. But I think when you had those guys that came in 2008, they were hungry, bro. Where you know, they recognized Bama had been spit on for several years. We hadn't won crap. You know, we went through the Shula era where we weren't winning any games for real. And those guys determined they were going to do something about it. Well, I think that what's happened is we've had new generations of B-Side 5 that have been beneficiaries of what the old B-Side 5 has done without putting the work in. You know, you get the receivers that want to run around screaming, "Hey, we're ride outs." You are not a ride out, dog. You don't even block on the backside of the play. So no, you're not a ride out. You don't run full speed on the route unless you know you're getting the ball. You're not a ride out. You're not BOB. You're not B-Side 5. You're not of our mold, bro. And so I think that, you know, one of the things that I was disappointed in, I think Coach Saban kind of got away from, and now he's starting to come back to it, was he kept bringing guys on staff that didn't understand the culture. Just because you won at whatever university doesn't mean you understand the Bama culture, right?
Right.
Just like Coach Constant said earlier, Coach still knows the culture. He helped him establish this culture. We just let the University of Georgia recreate our culture. They won back-to-back national championships off.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
That's because Kirby was smart enough to go get Will and a bunch of other old school coaches who bought that business.
They bought that business, dog. Come on, Coach Kirby ain't gonna play no games with you, man. Every single thing that they're doing down there is the original Bama culture, and I'm so happy for Coach Kirby and everything he's done down there. I've got the privilege to work with Kamari last year from a training perspective, and I help him out on the NIL perspective as well. You know, he's a Tuscaloosa native. I don't know how our recruiting services let that slip out of our hands, but I digress. But little things like that, man, you know, we're putting fences back up around our state, and recognizing that, bro, there's going to take a lot of Bama pride if we want to compete on the NIL side, because we don't have the oil money that the state of Texas has, right? We don't have venture capital the way the state of California has. So we've got to do a lot of things to compete where we lack in GDP. I think that we have a competitive advantage when it comes to the importance of Alabama football to the economy at the state of Alabama. We're probably one of the few states where Governor Ivey is fully supporting NIL, right? She understands how important this is to our economy as a whole. So I'm excited for that for sure.
So Donnie, let me ask you a question.
Steve wants you to tell him what GDP means, Donnie, because these
shut up. Hey, Donnie, I got a question. Okay, when you ask me what do I think Clinton HaHa Dix brought to the table, can you ask me that, please?
What do you think he brought to the table?
Laughter. Ha ha. I just wanted to get that joke off. I just wanted to get that. I just want to get that joke off. That's all. I just wanted to get that off. That's all.
You had to.
Before we move into our closing segment, yeah, Don, you bring up a very good point as far as the Texas oil money. Not only are we going to be competing against Texas A&M in terms of what they can offer their recruits, we're now going to be competing against Texas Longhorns, and we know that pockets are quite deep. So yeah, we're going to have to ante up, and Oklahoma probably isn't too bad either. So you bring up a very good point.
Come on, man. Come on. We're gonna have to tighten up. Obviously, winning football games is always gonna help with that. But you know, just that competitive integrity, that culture. We've got to get guys that want to come to Bama because they want to be a part of this culture and not because they want to get paid $1 million. Not,
you know something. Well, I think personally, I really believe if we brought the culture back, I believe that kids will want to come to Bama anyway. I mean, and like the money is good, but the kids really want to be a part of the culture. So again, like you said, once we start winning and bring that culture back, I don't think they'll be able to compete with us, even if they're throwing the money out there. Because look at what just happened at Texas A&M. They had like the biggest recruiting year, and it went to hell. And all those guys, they transferred.
They gone.
Come on.
That's because it was Jimbo down there, and it was a crap show. But I'll tell you this, though. You might want to pay attention to this. A lot of people hadn't noticed it. Most people won't even pay attention to it. Look at what Oklahoma State and Arkansas have been doing behind the scenes with NIL, and you look at who's backing them, especially when you start looking at Arkansas. You better know who's financing Arkansas.
Who's financing Arkansas?
Started up in Arkansas.
Who you think?
Everybody knows.
Jimmy Jones?
Walmart.
Jerry's World, baby.
Come on. They got
Dallas
Sam Walton and they got
owner, Jerry Jones.
Come
Oklahoma
on.
State, all that old.
Come on. And
they've been
that's
making
what it's
noise
gonna come
behind
back
the
to.
scenes with this NIL stuff, but most people ain't paying attention to it because it's Arkansas and Oklahoma State.
Mm-hmm.
I need to start back selling weed.
Good. Good point by Roll Tide 65. Proctor is an example of looking for a future versus a paycheck.
100%.
Caden Proctor, our offensive lineman that we just got out of the recruiting class, who may start. Well, guys, time has eluded us. Let's go ahead and move into our closing segment. We'd like to go around the room, a little round robin, starting with Marvin Constant. Brother, if you would, tell folks
Why you got to start with him? Why you got to start with him?
So he'll shut up first. Tell us about 40 Plus Strong, what you got going, and how people can find you on the interwebs.
But before you start, please get the book, y'all. Please get your hands on the book.
You see the guns, you see the hammers, wham! But no, you can find me on Instagram, Constant45, Twitter, Constant451, and on my Instagram is the direct link to Amazon to purchase a copy of my book, Physical and Mental Fitness at 40 Plus. So if you're looking for a tool that's going to help you physically and mentally, either A, get that body back, or B, keep it, as you move into your late 30s, 40s, and 50s, because again, it's a different approach, the things you did in your 20s, teens, and early 30s, they no longer work. You have to be conscious of everything at this age. So, in my book, I go in detail on how to still enjoy life and have that balance with a healthy lifestyle.
Awesome. Good deal.
Along with 3 different workout programs, one for beginner, one for intermediate, one for those who've been working out forever. 3 different 6-week workout programs, 18 weeks worth of workouts. You can write in the book, track your progress.
Hey, speaking of that, Marvin, I want to take this time to talk about my journey. Started at 250 pounds, a little bit over a month. I'm now down to 222 pounds. So I feel you, Marvin. And I'm 43, so that 40 plus that applies to me too. So appreciate your help, Marvin.
No problem.
Steve Brown, the floor is yours. Talk about the upcoming shows you have, where you'll be.
Okay, well, first of all, another testament to Marvin's book. You see this titty right here? It came off page 5. So listen, you won't. Yeah, that titty right there. That's a C cup, page 5. So yeah, and back here, love handles. That's page 10. So make sure if you want to be built like chewed up bubble gum, get the book. Listen now. I'll be at the Comedy Club Stardome April 14th through 16th. Get your tickets now, okay? They're going fast. They're almost sold out. Also, we have guest appearances by Stephen M. Smith and his little girl in the back fighting somebody. We don't know. But yeah.
I was just waiting on her to hit him one time.
Look, man, her and my dog going at it right now.
That's what's up. Stephen M. Smith, before she knocks you out, what you got coming up? How can folks find you on social media?
While I'm on daddy duty here with the dog and my daughter right here, what I got going on. In my own words tomorrow, yeah. So we sit here talking spring practice. We're talking a whole lot of Alabama NFL free agency. You still got folks signing contracts. We're waiting on to see which Jerry Jeudy going to go, because the Patriots are talking about him. The Patriots are also talking about Mac Jones, wondering is he gonna stay in New England?
Steven,
or not?
Did you not see Sean Payton today say Jerry Jeudy ain't going nowhere?
Nowhere.
I did see that from Sean Payton. Though.
Money talks.
We gonna see though. We gonna see what happens. But in my own words, tomorrow, y'all get there, get all the action right there.
Okay, and that leaves our guest of honor. Before I ask you about what you have coming up next, and then a closing question. One more question from the audience for you, since you've been on the field with the guys. How do you feel about Jahad Campbell? Dramatic pause. Damn, Boost Mobile. All right, Donnie, you back. Donnie, I don't know if you heard anything I said, but I'll rewind it before I ask you some closing questions and get your social media and all that. Hell Baby TV has a question from the audience since you've been on the field. How do you feel about Jahai Campbell?
Man, I think he's got an opportunity. Like we talked about earlier, that linebacker position lost a lot, and so whenever you've got people that had the production that our linebacker crew had last year, I think there's an opportunity for everybody. I think that Jahai has a lot of potential, but to me personally, potential is probably the most disrespectful thing that you can say someone has because it means it hasn't been realized yet. And so I actually looked great from what I've seen. I know he had a great fourth quarter in terms of winter conditioning, but now it's time to really put it to it, right? It's your opportunity to get on the bus. And so I think he's got all your intangibles, but it's a matter of putting it all together for sure.
That's what's up. All right, real quick, your favorite moment from playing at University of Alabama, and then tell folks what you got coming up next and how they can find you on social media.
Favorite moment from playing at the University of Alabama. So like I said, I had a really good spring ball in 2017. I guess I was second in the team in receptions and touchdowns behind Calvin. So I was feeling myself. I was kind of excited. Met with some NFL teams that spring. So I'm telling my mama, you might as well take out a second mortgage. We're going to the league. We're about to be rich. So I'm living the life. And I remember I had a meeting with Coach Saban. So Coach Saban has a post spring meeting, typically just with the scholarship guys. And so he invited me up there. And so I talked to OJ Howard and I talked to OJ Howard, Marlon Humphrey, and Levi Wallace before I went up there. And I said, well, how do I go about this? What do I say to them? What should I say? How do I make sure this goes the way I want this to go? And it's legal now. So I asked, how do I get my NIL money before there's an NIL? So
that was called.
I walk into the office. Y'all remember A-Rob, Aaron Robinson? He plays for the Giants now. Mm-hmm. So A-Rob is sitting next to me as we're getting ready. We're sitting in front of Miss Linda's desk waiting for Coach Saban to finish up the meeting prior to us. And A-Rob tells me, he's like, man, he said, I ain't gonna lie, D-Lee, I'm finna dip. He said, I'm out of here, bro. I ain't dealing with this no more. I'm tired of Coach Saban. I ain't dealing with it no more. I'm finna go in and tell him what it is, what it ain't. I'm gone. So I'm like, yeah, for sure. Me too. So A-Rob goes in there before me. Man, I see the door closed, and all I heard was 5 minutes of Saban screaming and yelling. So I'm sitting outside in the hallway trying to audible, thinking about what I'm about to do with mine. Man, I walk inside the office. He hits the little red button after I sit down, so the door closes automatically. That didn't have the novelty to it, so it didn't intimidate me as much. I was prepared for that one. I sit down, and he starts reading the file. He's just going through, reading up and down. And I'm like, what's on this man's paperwork? So he goes, Donnie, he said, you had a really good spring ball. You play the game with a lot of passion. He said, I don't think I've ever coached anybody that plays with as much passion as you. You had second amount of receptions this year, but you missed class 5 times in the last week alone. How?
Wow.
I said, bro, I know you ain't. I didn't say this out loud, but I'm like, bro, I know you didn't just call me in here. I just did this the whole spring ball, and you want to talk to me about class? Man, that changed my entire perspective. This man threatened to call my mama. I was 22 years old with a daughter. I had a kid already. He said, do I need to call your mom to get you to go to class? I said, nah, you don't. He said, I know you're from Northport. You're from right across the bridge. Do I need to get your mom to make you go to class? I said, bro. Well, I say all right to say, man, in that moment, in retrospect, I recognize what Coach Saban was trying to tell me. I've got Henry Ruggs, Jalen Waddle, Calvin Smith, some skinny kid named Devontae Smith. I don't really think that you need to be skipping class, my boy. You might need to focus on them books. And so I say that was the funniest moment, the most telling moment, and the moment that prepared me for life more than anything, for sure.
Okay, that's awesome.
That's what's up, man. Thank you for coming on, brother. We appreciate you.
Before you tell us next, we got one more question from the audience. They're all about you right now. Please ask Donnie what is his Mount Rushmore of receivers at Alabama.
My Mount Rushmore of receivers from Alabama. Amari Cooper out the gate. His head is bigger than anybody else's on that Mount Rushmore, and any receiver that played at Bama will tell you that they've learned how to run routes from Amari Cooper. Secondly, I take, and these are a little non-traditional, but I take our Darius Stewart. This is personal, just in terms of I played with Ardarius. Ardarius is like an older brother to me, and everything in my game was modeled based off of Ardarius, right? I wanted to be physical, be aggressive. I'd say Smitty. Well, I got 3 right there. I'd say Smitty, and then it's a tough one between Dub and 85. I'm a little biased, you know what I'm saying? But it's either Waddle. I'm gonna put myself up there, man. I'm still confident.
So no Julio?
I'm biased. I got that recency bias. See, now you just I'll drop.
No Freddie Millens?
I got that recency bias. We said
what?
No. Did he say Saban era or all time? Because if it's all time,
JT,
I got to take in Stallworth. If it's all time, it's a lot of different people I got to throw in there. I got to take in the whole like who.
No JT.
What pro throw it, man?
No. What about JT?
Which JT? Which JT?
No. I created him on the game. I created him on the game. Don't do that.
David Palmer?
Julio in there over Smitty. I'll throw Julio in there over Smitty.
DJ
David Palmer?
I'll do it like that. So Julio, cool.
No, so you're not going to put the Heisman Trophy winner up there?
He did.
No, I'm going to recant that. I'm going to go with my list. I can't put Julio in there for the same reasons that I don't necessarily look at Tyreek Hill as a great receiver. Like, bro, you came out the room as a physical freak. Like, you're a great athlete, but I don't know how great of a route-running wide receiver. Julio Jones is probably the best receiver to ever play football at Alabama. He's probably ever stepped foot on the campus at Alabama.
But you won't put him on your Mount Rushmore.
I can't put him on my Mount, not as a receiver. Look, if you look at his route tree and compare it to Smitty's route tree, it pales in comparison. He gonna get open because he's
hold on.
Conversation.
But look who they had throwing the ball to him, and look who Julio had.
Julio had Grant.
Right about he had
Julio had Grant.
He had game managers versus some of the greatest quarterbacks.
And then on top of that, the game was different back then too. The game was different back then.
That's
true. A lot more run heavy. Agreed. I don't know, man.
So if the game was so different back then, why aren't I on your Rushmore?
You was on it, man.
It ain't
but I just
for
had
water
to take
boys.
You on my comedy Mount Rushmore. Is you, Eddie Murphy? Who else I got on there?
That's all you need. That's it. That's all you need. That's all you need. Justin, end the show.
Okay. No, Donnie,
you gotta have to go.
End the show before you take me down.
Come on.
Donnie, how can people find you on social media? What you got coming up next, and then we're in the show.
Yes, sir. So I'm Donnie Lee Jr. on Instagram, Donnie Lee Jr. on Facebook, Donnie Lee Jr. 85 on Twitter. If you guys will follow me on the social media handles, I'll have information about our upcoming dates, camps, autograph signings, training sessions. We're working with Brandon Miller and his camp right now to host a basketball camp here in the city of Tuscaloosa. That's one of the things that we're trying to really put a emphasis on this upcoming year. A lot of times when guys finish up playing at Bama, they go do their camps in Birmingham. We want to have some of those things hosted for the kids here in the city of Tuscaloosa. A lot of times, you have kids that I know Coach Constant and Steve, y'all can vouch for this, man, but we might have grew up in Tuscaloosa, but we weren't getting tickets to Bryant-Denny until we earned that offer, dog. I mean, my dad told me that specifically. If you want to go there so bad, I'm not spending $300 on a ticket. Go get them to ask you to come. So providing affordable opportunities for those kids.
Can you say that social media one more time so the listeners can really lock it in?
Yes, sir. So on Instagram and Facebook is Donnie Lee Jr. On Twitter, it's Donnie Lee Jr. 85.
Gotcha.
Steve,
there it is.
Stalking you. Better be getting ready.
Hey,
get me right. Coach Con, I followed you on the ground, man. I know I went to County High, but follow me back. I got to tell you a crazy story another day, but Coach Connor kicked me off the track at Central one day when I was still in high school. When I told him where I went to school at, he said, "Oh no, you got to go."
Oh, Coach Connor, that's my people, man. Oh, Dennis. Yeah, that's
Coach Connor. Coach Connor don't like you.
He like me. He like me now. He just
no. He don't like Marvin. He don't like Marvin.
Don't listen to that.
Yeah. Hey, we need Brandon Miller and Jermaine Burton on this show, man. I think they fit in pretty well.
Let's make it happen. They could both use some PR help, so we.
Hey, bring them on. We need some guests next week. But Donnie, man, what an amazing show. We greatly appreciate you
Thanks a
jumping
lot,
on.
man.
The knowledge
Appreciate
you dropped, man. This is what folks needed to hear. You hear about NIL, but you don't really hear NIL, and you allowed people to get a head knowledge and a heart knowledge of it, man. Thank you for everything tonight.
Yes,
You
sir.
one of our best guests, man. You one of our best guests. Until your phone went out, until you took them to Sprint went off on you. Yeah.
I took this Northport service, man. We still ain't got phone towers yet. I'm about to.
No, that was Sprint. No, that was Sprint. Sprint will cut you off in the Sprint store. No, that was Sprint.
No NIL deals for Sprint.
But great show, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being in the live chat. Hit that like button if you hadn't done so already. Hit that subscribe button if you hadn't done so. If you're watching a replay, get in the comment section. Let us know what you think. And remember to be there April 25th and 26th at the Paul W. Bryant Museum. The Bama Standard is live. Get there early if you want to see us. That'll do it for all of us here. Gentlemen, roll tide.
Roll Tide.
Woo!